However, I want to take a moment before I go forward to answer any questions that you all might have about what we've talked about so far. And let's just kind of recap. What did we talk about so far? And the reason I want to do this is I believe that our time, your time, is so valuable. And I used the phrase jokingly last time. I said I don't want you to have something that you're not going to use and it becomes shelf help instead of self-help. How many of y'all go to, let's just say, church, whatever you call it, synagogue, temple, whatever you want to call it? Anybody go to any type of establishment like that? How many of y'all take notes when you go? What do you do with your notes?
Sometimes you read on study.
Right? The average person, we're pastors, so I know this, and I've been in ministry for 25 years now, 26 years now. The average person takes lots of notes in service. Guess when they look at them again? Next Sunday. That's average. And so we're not average people, right? So we're not going to take a bunch of notes and look really studious in the room and do nothing with it. So I will ask you, okay, what did you get from it? What are you going to apply in your world the moment you get back? And this is what I would recommend, highly recommend, almost require from each and every one of us, is that the moment you get to your room, not even when you get home, because by the time you get home, you will have lost about 60% of what you heard, unless you've done something with it immediately. So all I want you to do when you get back to your room this evening, if you go back to your room before that, take 5 minutes, pick out one thing that you're wanting to apply, and write what you're going to do with it immediately, because that's the thing that's going to stick. Out of all the things we're going to talk about, realistically, you're going to probably stick about 2 or 3 things, but only the things that you do something with immediately. So I'll ask you to do that every time you go to a conference, every time you go to church, every time you hear somebody speak and you say things like, man, that was good, I enjoyed that. What that comes from realistically is intellect and emotion. It really does. It comes from intellect and emotion, because emotion is like when we're in the room, it's like, oh my God, that was great. But if nothing is done with it, guess what happens? It escapes. Even the word says that the enemy comes quickly to steal the word that you receive, immediately. So it's like those things begin to evaporate the moment we leave the room if we don't do anything with it. So one thing, just want 3 of you to give me one thing that you can remember from the other night. Okay, first off.
I already mentioned it, but the avatar.
Yes. So I will ask you all, if that's something that you're interested in, I'm going to be doing a class, as I've had that request so many times, to teach people how to create their own avatars. Because my avatars aren't going to do you any good. They're mine. And you know what I mean? I want you to be able to create them for your business. So if it's something you'd like to do, anything that I mentioned today, and I do this all the time, I promise you it's not like I'm doing it just for y'all as much as I love you all. I do it because I value my audience. I value the time that you pay attention to what we're talking about. So if I mention, hey, I'm doing this class or something, then you'll always get a very special opportunity to do that. So just know, if you would like to take that class, let me know, and I'll make sure that I give you all some special rates for that. And then Nancy and I'll come right back to you.
How are you going to stand out?
How are you going to stand out?
Yeah, I thought that was very powerful.
Right. We want to, remember what we said, imprint, right? We want to imprint. We want to make sure, yeah, you did say that, my bad. Imprint on the person's mind that you're talking to. So that
they come back to you.
They come back to you, and the thing is, not only do they come back to you, but when the time comes and they need what you have to offer, they're right back. They're like, this is the person I need to talk to immediately. Yes, ma'am.
Mine was to do your research before you work with anybody.
Yes.
Don't take money out of desperation or just anybody. That's good.
Yeah. And you know the interesting thing is, okay, so if any of you all have dated, period, not even just in the last, some of y'all might be single, or you remember when you dated. How many of you all know that men can tell a woman who's been abused, a woman who is in a place of hurt, right? Mm-hmm. They can sense it, and therefore there's sometimes those who don't have a good heart are targeting those types of people, because they're like, I know what I could get, right? Mm-hmm. I can take advantage of this one. Guess what? Desperation has a scent, and people can smell it a mile away. And people don't want to do business with others who are desperate, nor should you. Right. Because people who are desperate make decisions that are not based in wisdom, right? Mm-hmm. And so, absolutely, without a doubt, we want to make decisions based out of not need, but what we have crafted, what we've desired, what we set our goals out, and we know what that is, or our core values. Right. I've put my core values on my door, and if it doesn't align with the core values, it automatically is a no. right? And then last, yes, ma'am.
If you can't pour yourself into it, get another
job. Go do
That
something.
really
And there's
stinks.
nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in it. There is no shame in it. But if you can't, and it doesn't mean you got to do it forever. So who knows what the word enthusiasm means? We generally want to say excitement, right? Woo-hoo. But guess what? It is from a Latin word, entheos. And entheos actually means God flowing through. It means doing something as though you were born to do it. That means you give everything that you have to it. And the cool thing is this, it doesn't mean it's your forever passion. That means if I'm on fries at McDonald's, I am on fries at McDonald's, like for real. Like I am giving everything I have while I'm in that moment.
That's good.
And then if I go to my next thing, then I'm living in it as if God sent me to do it. And that's how we are able to really make an impact. How many of y'all have been in a grocery store and you're like, I don't care what's going on. I don't care how long the line is. I'm going through Jose's line because that dude takes good care of me. Because he gets it, right? He gets it. So we can show up in that same way. And so a couple of things, a couple of tips I want to give you around standing out, making sure that people remember you. We tend to think that the thing that we say the loudest and the most is what gets us remembered. Not so. Guess what gets us remembered? The questions we ask. The questions we ask. Because generally, when we walk into a room, a business setting, what's the first question someone's going to ask you? Thank you. Say it louder. What do you do? What do you do? And if I'm in a room with 35 people and 29 of them ask me, what do you do? And then I come and say, so what is it that got you so interested in making these amazing clothes? Because they are phenomenal. Tell me more about what has ignited your passion. Who are you going to remember? Because everybody else sounded just like everybody else. Whereas if you ask compelling questions, you stand out all by yourself. And the best example I can give you is this. Once again, a very, very vulnerable story, but it's just the truth, and this is not long ago. I had my first 3-day event in 2014. And I hired a event management company to help me because I didn't know what I was doing. I had never done this before. And so what they told me I needed to do, I just did it because they were supposed to be the professionals, right? They knew what they were doing, right? And so go through the event from the outside looking in, ask anybody who attended the Unstoppable Confidence Networking Conference 2014. They're gonna tell you it was lit, it was off the chain. She fed us like queens and kings. All the content was awesome, all the speakers were great. They're gonna tell you it was phenomenal. If you ask anybody from the Tish Times team, you're gonna say, oh, it was horrible, it sucked. Because it was not profitable. It looked beautiful. Guess how much money I made off of that event? Negative $40,000.
Oh, wow.
Negative $40,000. Do you hear me? Let that sit for a minute. Anybody want that bill? So it was not a good experience. Again, from the outside looking in, it looked phenomenal. So after I went through my pity party, because I did, and I was like, I'm never doing this again. God, I missed you. I shouldn't have did that event. And then by 2015-ish, toward the end, I heard God starting to tell me again, this is what you're supposed to do. And I'm like, I'm not doing that again. And 2016 rolls around, And then finally, like, well, maybe we'll do a smaller one. And by the time it was time for me to say yes, I found this person who I should have hired the first time. She's out of Delaware. And I knew I should have hired her, but my thing was I'm big on local business, so I wanted to do something local, and so therefore I decided that I was gonna, find someone that I really didn't know. When I brought Tiffany from Delaware, the first thing that stood out to me about her was when we went to go look at venues, she started asking questions to the places where we were going. She was like, so tell me about this, and how's the lighting, and what's the square footage of this? I mean, the questions she was asking, I'm sitting there going, I didn't ask none of these questions before. She starts asking me questions, and I'm like, I didn't know I needed to know that. I never even thought about that. Had I been asked those questions last year, the year before, I would have made money. I would have known things that I should have done. I should have had I shouldn't have tried to make it a huge, like I've been doing this for 20 years type of event, like I'd seen other people do. That was the first lesson. Trying to compare myself to other people instead of doing what I knew was in my heart to do. But number two, and this is the important thing, is understanding that the questions that you ask prove your expertise. Because the moment Tiffany starts asking these questions, I'm like, she knows what she's doing. She has information that the other people obviously did not have. What's the worst part about this is after my event, that company folded. They sure did. Had nothing to do with me. I just should have, you know what I mean? I should have gone with what I knew to do. And so when you're in an environment, in a networking setting, in a business setting, period, it's asking the right questions, which means you have to know the right questions to ask. So what I have prepared for you all, and I always have this, is I know questions to ask. They're not hard and they don't sound crazy. You're not gonna walk up to someone and go, so tell me the square footage of, it's not something that's gonna make you feel like an idiot. It's real questions phrased differently than other people are asking. It's still what do you do, but it's asked in a way to where someone goes, I've never heard it like that, or I've never thought about that. And if you can make someone say, I never thought about that, they're gonna remember you. Because you've caused them to think differently. Yes, please.
Reminds me of what you said the first time you were saying initial impact versus just an engagement.
Yes. So you know that phrase, elevator pitch? I hate it. Hate it. I never use it. You know what I say instead? An engagement statement. Because you want to engage them. You want to get their attention. You want them to focus on you.
Absolutely.
Right? So I changed it. It's called an engagement statement. I'm going to talk a little bit about it today, but I'm going to give you a resource that you can go to and learn how to do an engagement statement that changes everything about the way you introduce yourself. It changes everything. And so you have to know what kind of questions to ask if you put these in. And you also got to put this in the computer for it to actually work. Just FYI, in case you ever want to know that. So I will give you, so this is the only caveat I'll say, because I know myself too. And I know when I get home Saturday, I'll be with my family for one day, then I leave again on Sunday. So it's possible I might forget. So every last one of you all by now should have my contact information. If you don't, I have business cards. You can take one. All I want you to do is email me and say, send me those questions. And I'll make sure to send you the questions that I just referred to. So also you want to make yourself emotionally attractive. You ever heard that phrase? So it's not just about standing out, it's just the first part. But being emotionally attractive, again, I mentioned when we were together the other time that we make decisions from an emotional place, especially women. So if your target or your ideal client is women, then you definitely want to make sure that you are meeting them on a level that's going to remain, that they're going to remember, right? And so questions such as, how did you feel when I'm talking to a client about a previous experience, I want to help them to either remember what they don't want anymore or help them to imagine what it could be like. So the emotional questions are questions about how did it feel like? What would it be for you if? What if you were able to have the level of income that you've always desired? You know what I mean? You want to get them to that place where they're like, wow, that would be boom, 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 boom. And now they've created their own vision board by answering your question. And so you want to make sure that you're not only asking the right questions, but you are getting them to a place where they're going to either remember what they don't want or imagine what they do want. Because then they're ready to make a decision. They're ready to move forward, move in a different direction. And we have, how many seconds do you think it takes to make that initial engagement? To make that initial contact?
30 seconds.
You said 30 seconds? What'd you say?
I said quick, 3
to 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And guess what? It keeps getting shorter. Guess why?
Because we practicing patience.
Exactly. Because now when I Google something, I'm like, seconds. I got all my answers.
0.8.
Exactly. So your time, it used to be like 15 seconds. Then it was like 12 seconds. Then it was like 10 or 8. Now you have 3 seconds to connect with someone in order for them to be able to stay engaged. And so we have now to be more sophisticated with the way that we engage the people that we're trying to, to connect with. And if we miss that, we miss opportunities. Many times we also will start our conversations with, even if they don't ask us, what do you do? We start telling them, let me tell you what I do. And once again, remember that's ego speaking, not heart. And I can say it from there. I'm telling you, when I first started my company, I promise you all, I can look back on this and remember how crazy it was. And it wasn't that I thought about it and intentionally decided to do this, but there was a part of me that wanted to be recognized. There was a part of me that wanted to be acknowledged still. I was still really living off of a title. And I am so far removed from that now. Even in ministry, I'm like, call me Tish. I'm serious. I'm like, I'm not connected to titles to where I feel like that's the only way you're going to respect me. I can earn your respect by just showing up and being who I am, right? But because I felt like I had to be CEO, I'm telling you, I was handing out business cards like poker cards. I own a business. what you do. You know what I mean? It was kind of, looking back, that's almost how it was coming across. And so we found ourselves telling what instead of why. That's why I loved your answer so much when you said, I give back by. This is important to me because I love to be able to be of service so that. Because now, again, it's different than everyone else in the room, because I promise you the people who are not understanding this are walking around saying, I do this, and I can help you with this, and it only costs this much, right? And so instead, we want to connect with them in a way that they're going to be like, oh, so you don't just do hair, you create products to change in people's lives? Are you serious? You're able to help me to be able to have a different experience and not just get my hair cut? I want to talk more to you. I want to understand, because that's different from everybody else that I've talked to who technically does what you do. So we want to be able to tell them why and not just what. The what will come. So don't worry about it. We're so eager to say the what. The what will come, but if you get the what before the why, the what no longer matters. Because they've missed it. You haven't engaged them first. You haven't gotten them to the place where they're really ready to hear it. And so therefore it sounds like everybody else is what in the room. But when you get them to why first and get them to want to know the what, right? You get them to want to know the what. Now it's a very different conversation. And so we want to make sure that when you connect with someone, you're giving them something, we call it SUE, S-U-E. It's simple, it's unexpected, and it's emotional. So the other thing we don't want to do is go on and on and on and on and on. Because as I said the other night, when we go on and we say, and I do this, and I do this, and I do that, and I do this, and I do that, they're planning dinner, they're talking about what they're doing in the morning, they've left the building, but they're being polite by standing here still looking at you. But they're no longer engaged with you. So simple, we want to be able to say it in a way to where they can understand what you do, whereas you're not trying to, if you have to explain it in multiple words, you're not clear on it. That's the first thing. It's unexpected, so I'm not going to say what everybody else is saying. I'm going to tell them the why, not necessarily the what. And then it's emotional. So there is a reason behind it. But it doesn't have to be, super long. It doesn't have to be super deep. It just has to mean something so that when it hits them, it catches them more than right here. It catches them more here. Yes, more heartfelt. So the resource I want to give you all, how many of y'all have heard of Simon Sinek? So it's S-I-M-O-N. His last name is S-I-N-E-K, right? So go to YouTube and type in start with why. He has a long version and a short version. All you need is a short version. It's like a 3-minute video. And it will help you to understand why I'm saying things that I'm saying about this. He gives a great illustration of how Apple has become the conglomerate that it is. And it's not about the computer, because they don't do anything really special. I mean, it's different, but it's not super special. It's the way that they bring, they connect with you. Look at a commercial. Have you all seen the commercial that has like all of the animals, and it's all pictures of all of these like natures, it's Earth. Do you see anything on there about a telephone or a computer? No. But at the end is an Apple computer, and everybody's going, ooh, and they go right back and say, I want that camera. I want to see how they took those pictures. But they don't even have the picture of the camera or the computer in the video, but they got you emotionally. And so look at that, start with why, Simon Sinek. I do a full class on it in my academy, but you can go to that video and understand very, very simply why this is so important. If someone is saying to you when you meet them, and they go, oh, it was nice to meet you, and they walk away, guess what? We've missed an opportunity. We've missed an opportunity. They should be saying, oh, girl, I need your card. I'd like to know more about that. I have somebody that you need to meet. I want to introduce you to someone who needs your service. You know what I mean? There should be an opportunity to elaborate. That's why you don't have to tell them everything in the first second, because what you're going to say to them and the way you're going to make them feel is going to be so important that they're going to want to have a deeper conversation with you. And that's when we're able to get to that what. So we don't have to try to engage them with everything that we have to offer in the first few minutes. And I'll give you the reason we do that. In many cases, number one, we're not clear ourselves. So when we're not clear, we use more words. You know that? You would think you're not clear, you don't say enough. No, when we're not clear, we use more words. It's like, let me explain it to you. And the reason that you have to do it this way is because that, but when you're just like, just do it, like we said the other day, it's like you don't need any more words. It's enough. Enough is enough. So the other thing is the insecurity. I have to make you like me right now so you'll buy my stuff, because if I let you walk away, you're not going to like me anymore, and I'm never going to get another chance to talk to you. That's an insecure place. And if we're selling from insecurity, we're in that same place of scarcity, and you know what I mean? We don't want to sell from that place, because if we start there, we always have to stay there. My mom used to tell me years ago, she said, girl, you meet a man, you better start how you want to finish, because once you start cooking dinner every day, you want to be cooking dinner every day. I was like, all right, point taken. We're not doing that. So it's like you don't want to start a relationship in a way that you don't want it to continue.
Absolutely.
Right? And so always conclude your conversations with a call to action. I didn't say with the offer to sell.
That's right.
It's a call to action. Hey, I'm going to give you a call tomorrow so we can chat. I'd love to send you some information that would kind of help you understand more about what we talked about today. You know what I mean? It's a call to action so that there is an expectation for future interaction. So there, when I do follow up, it's not like, who are you? It's like, oh, I was expecting your call. You told me you were going to call, right? And so that's what we want to ensure that we're doing. And many times what happens is we've created this kind of expectation, especially around women, that interacting, networking, whatever we want to call it, it's so social that we're afraid to ask for anything. So instead of saying, hey, let's get together and talk a little bit more, or let me give you a call next week, or let's jump on what we call a discovery call or something, it's kind of like, oh girl, it's good to meet you. I hope we get to know each other better, and we kind of leave it super social. And networking can be social, but I always say do social on your own time. Don't do it on your business time. Because your business deserves the respect that you gave to your employer. Right? And so therefore, we need to be intentional, there's that word again, intentional with the way that we are meeting people, intentional with the way that we're engaging people, because we are setting them up for something to come in the future. And I will even dare say, it's irresponsible for us to behave otherwise. How many of you all believe, I don't care what you say you do, you may feel like, well, it's only this or it's only that. How many of you all believe that what you have to offer, whatever it may be, is life-changing? Right? It changes lives. And if I were a medical professional, and I have the ability to help save someone's life, and I see someone bleeding on the street, and I walk past them and don't do anything, guess what happens? I get brought up on charges because I have a responsibility to help the person who needs me the most. Guess what? You have a responsibility to help the people who need you the most. And to leave them without the proper resources, you're doing them a disservice. And it's irresponsible. We have an obligation to do it. And so therefore, it's not a matter of I gotta sell them something as much as I have to help them. Without me, they don't get to do the thing that they need to do the most. Without me, they don't ever get to that next place in their life. Or it's delayed substantially because they have got to now find someone else who does what I do. And so I'm always, I'm meeting someone and they're lacking confidence, they're not able to have strong sales conversations, they're not making any money in their business, they're about to give up. I'm like, oh, it's time to put the cape on. Because I have a responsibility to save them, to help them to know that they can do it, they can make it, they can speak with confidence, they can find their voice, they can make the type of money in their business without feeling sleazy or inauthentic in the way that they do it. How dare I walk away from them and leave them in the state that they're in when I can help them to become better? How dare you walk away from them and leave them in the state that they're in when you can help them do better, right? And then the other part of that is, how dare you leave yourself in the state that you're in when you can help yourself get to the place where you said that you ultimately wanted to be? Who in here has a goal, be it financial, be it for your family, be it for your own peace of mind, your retirement, whatever it is? Anybody have a goal, right? So you have a path to the goal. Why do you keep leaving the path? Didn't you see the movie with Denzel? Didn't he say stay on the path? So we need to stay on the path to the goal. But every time that we say, I can't, it's not time, I don't know what to do, guess what we're doing? We're stepping off the path. And every time we take that step to the left, we're getting further and further away from the path that we're supposed to be on to get to where we said we wanted to be. So we can't just say it with our mouths. We have to say it with our actions every single day. I've heard so many people say things like, thank you. So many people say things like it takes money to make money. Guess what? That's a lie. Guess how, you know what I started my business with? A telephone and a list of names. No money, period. None. I'm not saying that there are not companies that you got to make an investment in, and I'm not saying don't make an investment, but don't let that be your excuse not to do it. It's just the action that you take every single day. That's why I created that planner, because I want people to have a routine that's going to take them to the place that they ultimately desire and need to be. Because this is the other thing. We can also say things like, it's not about the money. I don't want to make the money. They're really big. He didn't talk when you talk. He only talks when I talk.
It's actually not as bad.
I know, because we're in here, right? I'm going to keep talking. But this is the thing. If we feel like we have to have something in order to move forward, we'll always be waiting on something to rescue us instead of doing the work necessary to get there. So I'm going to give you a real quick story, and then I'm going to get ready to allow Aqueela to come on up. But when I started my first company, remember it was a staffing company, so I did personal training at 4 a.m. until about 8 a.m. every weekday morning, all right? And what would happen is around 8 o'clock, I started getting calls, or I started having to make calls, whatever. And what started to happen is this. I had all these training clients, and I had no staffing clients. We just started. Then I'd get one or two, and it's like, okay, I could work less hours doing training and more hours doing staffing. And before you know it, I'm trying to train someone. I'm taking orders for somebody. I'm like, okay, do 3 more reps. I'll be right back with you. I mean, it was literally like, I kind of, morphed into it, but it was not one of those things where it's like, I can't because I don't have the money. I found a way to live while I was building the dream. And so you have to figure out what is it going to take every day. I created that planner so that you can have a way to ensure that your routine is intentional. You have something to do every single day. We have what we call profit-producing activities. If you're not doing them, you're not producing profit. If you're not producing profit, you're not staying in business. So we have a choice to make every single day. Am I going to, and we can take it all the way. Am I going to stay in business and reach those goals, or am I going to play with the call that is on my life? Right. Am I going to decline the opportunity to be able to become and to help others become? So again, we say things like, it's not about the money, I'm not trying to get rich. Guess what? If you want to change the world and you say, I'm just here to make a difference, it takes money to make a difference. It takes money to change the world. It takes money, even in ministry, you know what I mean? So we can't say that we don't need the money. It's not about, you don't have to keep it, you can give it all away if you want to. But you have a responsibility to earn enough to be able to make the difference that you're called to make. And so, when you're connecting with people, it's not about how can I get them something from them, it's about how can I get something to them. So my first call is always an offer to help. Who can I introduce you to? We've already talked about that. Who can I introduce you to that you might need to know, right? How can I help you with a resource that you might need in order to get to your next level? It's always an offer to help. Because the moment someone thinks, how many of y'all said, somebody calls you to say, they want to sell me something, I don't want to talk to them. No, but if they say, hey, I have a gift for you, I'd like to share something with you, the likelihood is they're going to want to engage. The other thing is, be yourself. If you try to perform to get their business, you're going to have to perform to keep their business. But if they fall in love with your heart, then they're going to continue to want to do business with you. I personally love to use video when I make my first interaction. Because number one, I want to see their eyes. I want to see if they're engaged. I want to see if they're multitasking while they're talking to me. And then I want to see their level of commitment to this conversation. So I use things like Zoom, I use Loom, there's a couple of different tools that I use that are free that allow me to have those face-to-face connections when I'm meeting with someone for the first time. The other thing is, and there's a different camps of thought around this. This is my opinion, and it's worked for me in this business 9 years, and then the previous business, I've been in that business for almost 20 years, is using a photograph in your email, in your email signature, if you can, on your business card. And the only reason I recommend that is, again, if I'm in a room and I met 30 people, how are you going to stand out? Especially if you have a very common name. Most of us here, we have very unique names. A lot of us do, at least. But nevertheless, are they going to remember that unique name? Or are they going to see that picture and go, oh yeah, I do remember her? When you send that email initially, or when you give them that card, they're going to look at it and say, yes, I definitely know who that is. So that's the primary reason I want people to use their picture. Many times we don't want to use our picture for multiple reasons. It's normally not business related. It's normally more about the way we see ourselves. And so if you want to make sure, again, another way to stand out, utilizing your picture. If you have to, and those of you all who are in the types of business who are doing follow-up calls and saying, hey, it's time for you to come back in again. It's been 3 weeks, come on in. You know, you're making those kind of follow-up calls, you're doing business development and things of that nature. You don't want to leave what we call a marathon message. You want to leave a message in the quick, again, all of this is super concise, super simple. Hey Tiffany, it was great to meet you. Can you just give me a call back? I have a question for you. Period. Enough said. Because guess what? People
They want to know what the question is.
right, they want to know what the question is. People are nosy. And the other part is we're also a little self-centered.
Okay.
So we're like, maybe she wants to buy something from me. Maybe somebody wants to do something with me instead of them, you know what I mean? They're going to call you back just because you piqued their curiosity. But if we say, hey, I want to talk to you about this, and I got this on sale today, they are not going to call you back. You have turned them away. And the next time you call, they're probably going to put you on block. So you want to just pique their curiosity and keep it simple. Another thing, again, when we talk about the emotional connection, how many people send handwritten notes to potential clients or the people that they want to connect with, right? Potential people that you'd like to connect with, right?
Tiffany does.
So important. So I have cards, again, super inexpensive. I don't care if you go and get some cards from Walmart or from Target, or if you have some, right. You can get some that are professionally done, whatever you prefer, but a thank you card goes so far. Because 4% of the US postal mail is personal right now. 4%. So if they get a stack of bills and junk mail and all kind of craziness, and they see your handwritten card, what are they going to open first? And you know what was really cool? I promise you, this happened to me a few weeks back. I was in Instagram scrolling, looking at stuff, and I was like, that looks like my logo. I'm like, who's got my logo on their Instagram? Well, what it was is someone I had sent a card to had gotten it, and she was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. Who does this? She hadn't tagged me, so I didn't know it until I was just scrolling. But she was like, this is so phenomenal. This is the person that I want to do business with. And I was just like, all right then. Because it makes them feel special, right? If you can create exclusivity in your relationships where people feel like they're special to you, that's one thing. The other thing is 95% of your competitors, the people who are currently doing business are not doing it. So you're going to stand out just by doing that in and of itself. I'm going to give you one last tip. So, for those of you all who will be trying to get, doing negotiations with people who are going to do business with you, who are trying to get new clients for the types of companies you're working with, we're going to be negotiating with vendors, all of these various things that you're trying to connect with people, and maybe they're not responding right away. Maybe they're slow to make a decision, and you're like, how do I move this process along? One way that I've always been able to get a response is this. Even if all the other things fail, people will always open a FedEx or UPS package. Always.
True.
And so I might send the same thing I was going to send via regular mail, or the same thing I might have wanted to talk to them about, and I will put it in the FedEx package. And it always gets through the doorkeeper, the person who's answering the mail, because it seems important. And I will make it valuable. Normally I'll add something special to it, but nevertheless, it gets their attention and it gets opened. And now when I call them back, I have a reason to call them. Hey, I just wanted to check and make sure you got the package I sent to you. I was trying to get connected so we can maybe talk about blah, blah, blah. I wanted to invite you to this event that I thought would be helpful for your business, you know what I mean? So now I've got their attention, and that's the thing. If we're really secure in who we are and what we do, if we are very, very sure about the importance of us making the difference that we're called to make, all I need to do is get their attention, because now once I have your attention, I can take it to that next step. All I got to do is get their attention. And so that's another way just to get their attention. And so all of these things I just want you to be really clear about. If we are not taking these things to heart, if we are kind of feeling like, well, I'll talk to them later, or I'm not ready, or I don't know what to do, all the things that the head junk, I call it, that gets in our heads and stops us from moving forward. If we're doing those things, we are leaving dollars on the table, and we're leaving people without the necessary resources for them to have the transformation that you're supposed to help them make. And so if we're willing to do the necessary things, and it's not a whole lot, for those, some of you all, I will even dare say, you might feel like, well, I don't have time to work, and I don't have time to do this, or I'm really burnt out and I'm doing too much. If you would commit to 4 to 5 hours, 20 hours a week in your business, dedicated time now, I'm talking you are working that business for 20 hours a week, I promise you, you will see more income and more success in your business than doing it that hit or miss, right? Where you're just kind of like, I'll do it today, I'll do it next week, whatever. I've seen it. There's a woman, I can see her face, I can't remember her name right now. She was like, I'm working 60 hours a week, I don't never see my children, and she was like losing it. But what started to happen is she said, okay, I'm gonna give this business 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I'm gonna give it all that I have for that period of time. She became a multimillionaire on 20 hours a week. Multi-millionaire, and super, super fulfilled, because now she can spend time with her kids, and she has the money to do it as well, to go to Disneyland and take them on trips and have a better relationship with her spouse. All of those things came because she got super focused.
Absolutely.
And so the routine, your daily routine, I'll say this, if you show me your daily routine for 5 days, I can tell you where you're going to be in 5 years. I'll say it again. If I watch you for 5 days, I can tell you where you're going to be in 5 years, because your routine is going to propel you into your next level. Or it's going to propel you backwards, right? It goes both ways. So I want you to commit to that. And I want to just take some questions. Any questions that you might have, if there's someone that might want a specific thing addressed, I'd love to take some time to do that. And then I'm going to give myself a seat and let Ms. Aqueela come and do her thing. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, following up on the conversation that we had previously about the rebound, about what happens when, you fail publicly and then you have to make that rebound.
Yes.
I've rebranded my company 3 times so far. As it evolves, I give it a new name, we start fresh.
Right.
I wanted to get your feedback on how you were able to go from that rebound area and propel yourself into that next level.
Yeah.
And what steps you took.
So this is the funny thing. And again, I told you all, it looked like I rebounded, like, boom, I'm back. It was like, it took me a minute to get back there. But I spent so much time worrying about what other people were thinking about me. They're talking about me. They're going to ask me questions. Guess what? Half the people I engaged with, they were like, we were waiting for you. They didn't even know what had happened. They wouldn't think about you. We love to think we're that important, and we are important to some people, right? But we're not that important. Meaning people are not thinking about us, so guaranteed, they're going to be like, what you got going on now, girl?
Right.
You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. Because when I tell the story now, the people who were in my life then, they're like, when did that happen? And I'm like, you were right there.
Wow.
They never knew.
It's true.
They never knew. I tell you what's going to give it away, though. How you show up.
Absolutely.
How you show up. Because you walk in the room like, bam. They're going to be like, bam. They're going to receive you as you present yourself. So don't even worry about it. For real. Any other questions? All right. I want to say thank you.
Thank you. I know you're frozen to my arms.
That's good, the rebound. What she's saying is so true. Like I said, that when I had an affair, I went into I became a reclusive. And Minnesota was where it all originated. And when I was like, I'm never going back. So I decided to I decided actually I wasn't going to go to Minnesota. I was trying to visit, and initially, I was like, I'm going to go all the time, see my family. But then all of a sudden I was like, I want to go. And then I was afraid that, people were going to start rejecting me and shunning me. And people were like, we don't.
What you talking about?
We heard something. We didn't think it was even true. Like it was just a reality. People thought higher of me than I thought of myself. And I was grateful for that. Because my consistency, praise the Lord, never gave anybody the reason to think that would have been my reaction or my life choice. And so so all of that to say, I was just grateful to be able to get the opportunity to tell the story, not to pass blame or anything like that, but just I was like, if you got questions, I'll tell you. But like she said, how I showed up really played a major part of that. Because there was a lot of, when that 2 years, I think is very important. Just a quick something. Again, I'm a believer, so I believe in the word. Before God sent Moses and people like that out into manage putting their face in front of a lot of people, they always had to be in a place of being by themselves.
Yeah.
Because your internal confidence is required in order for you to externally exhibit that before anybody. I took a lot of time by myself, sitting on the couch crying and contemplating suicide, real talk. But I had to go through being by myself to be okay with what I saw in the mirror, you know, before I can show whatever, you know, myself before anybody else. You know, you can tell people a million times they're beautiful until they believe it. It's just kind of rolling off of them, which is why I said take what is given to you.
Yes.
Stop fighting your compliments, right? Stop fighting the things that I believe that God is using to build you up in your business and your personal life. There's no business without you. You are the beginning part of everything you do. There's no you, there's no that. There's no hair, there's no giving back to the community, there's no mom, there's no nothing. You understand? We can count out having those nice peplum vests because if it's not you, we don't get it.
Won't be no silky vest.
Won't be no silky vest.
No silky vest.
Right? It won't be any silky vest. I appreciate it. You know, appreciate you, Tish. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate you.
Really
Thank
good
you.
information. What was one of the takeaways you got from just now, ladies?
Scrapping the elevator pitch.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
And I like how she elaborated on it. You know, not just throwing out phrases and terms, but it's really just, you know, how to do that.
Yeah.
You know, what to do, why.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Creating a routine.
Create a routine. Absolutely. Believe it or not, I be laughing because things that she's gonna say is in here.
Wow.
Time management is huge for me. Had to learn it the hard way, but that's good.
Sharing your why before your what.
Sharing your why before your what. Love it. Go ahead.
Find a way to live while building.
Love that. That is one of my favorite things because I tell entrepreneurs, quit firing people.
Right?
You're an entrepreneur and you be like, you need to get your own business. Quit firing these people at their
Thank
job.
you. They ain't ready.
I just need y'all to leave these people alone. Because if they are a multi-preneur, I'm making a word up. If they are multi-preneur, okay, let them be I heard somebody actually say it best, but it was like basically they're you know, you're a corporate America, you're like a corporatepreneur or something. Let them work at their job. You know what I'm saying? Quit firing everybody because for one, not everybody at their job. This stuff is transferable. You're transferring the hate that you got for your job onto somebody else, and they can love what they're doing. Right. People be like, well, you don't want nobody to work for nobody. You guys are crazy. I still work for people. They just look different.
Yep.
It just looks different. I still work for somebody. You would hire me, then that means I work for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? I still gotta pay taxes. I'm just trying to figure out, right? So there's still also time limits we gotta give ourselves. Everything looks a lot of the same. I just sometimes spend a lot more money doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I spend a lot of money sometimes doing stuff that I would just be able to go to work for and let them pay me. And just pay for my little gas or something to get to the job. You see what I'm saying? So we can't keep firing people. I really appreciate it. That allow people to manage what they have and then maybe build onto it. So do a part-time entrepreneurial position for yourself because I don't want you, again, wear yourself down. You guys talked about that with Tish the first night you were here. So don't wear yourself out to the point where now you ain't good for anything, right? What is something that you grabbed from that?
It was for your routine can propel you into your next level and keep you back.
Absolutely.
Saying,
routine is huge.
Yeah.
Routine is huge. Routine. So, really quick, I'm gonna just jump in on that and then kind of rework it a bit. But time management is huge. And so, of course, I appreciate and love everybody here, and I know we've had things. This is, again, super, super, like, we have to be flexible. First time doing it, first time on the ship. Not ever, and then I've never been on this ship. If we were to do that other one ship that I've been on, just one, then maybe I would have been able to tell you a little bit more because I walked the heck out of that ship. But this is something that was new. We had to be a little flexible, things like that. But in all honesty, for yourself, you want to manage your time. Your time affects other people. Like home chick over here was like, you want to push it back? I'm trying to do bingo. And I'm just being honest.
I love it.
Being honest, right? Your time affects other people. When I show up, to whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm affecting somebody else's rest of their day, right? When I show up for a speaking engagement, if you guys talked about me or possibly having me as an MC, what would it look like if I showed up late? I'm fired. Do you understand? Or irritated because now, I'm being honest with you, I've had people that I know be like, girl, I showed up late and they deducted my pay. I don't play them games.
I know that's right.
I'm being honest. And what can I say to something like that if I showed up and I wasn't timely? Do you understand what I'm saying? Especially if it wasn't the expectation for me to show up late. Because sometimes I'm like, hey, my flight don't get into this time. you know, what's the circumstance, right? So I'm just saying, like, delayed flights, I get those things. But if it's in your power, and I just being honest, I deal with a lot of believers. I need us to quit using God as the way to pacify us not
Can
showing
I
up
just
in
get an
excellence.
amen?
I don't like that.
Right? Right.
You know what? God knows my heart, and
No.
He knows, you know, and the reason He let the traffic be like, no, because you know you live in Atlanta.
We're on the road.
Right?
If you know it can take an hour on a good day, go leave an hour and a half early.
Right.
We have to be better stewards of our time, you guys, as business owners, as wives, as mothers, and whatever it is. The
Right.
time is huge.
It
You know what
is.
I'm saying? Timing is huge. How fast and how soon and how much in advance. Everything can't be done last minute. Some things can be, right? Because I've created events in 30 days. I'm being honest. But that can't be everything. Some things you got to give people more time for. This trip was originally to Cuba. When I backtracked it, I was like, you know what? Cuba was way more expensive. That ain't even me adding a profit. That was way more, and I'm always trying to be in the best interest of my customers. So I'm like, trying to throw a trip together to Cuba, same dates, but the cost, knowing all the things that other people might find important. I don't traditionally celebrate Christmas. I celebrate it a lot different. Nobody can give something on trip. So I'm just being honest. We spend our money different. You gonna go on a trip or something. I'm not buying you no tours. So with that being said, I have to recognize people gonna spend probably their hundreds of dollars on Christmas, and they're not gonna value this, and then I got cancellations. I was looking at setting myself up and my customers up for success.
Right.
So timing ain't just showing up on time, it's considering the time. Your time, you know, time management. How much time do you need for people to get the word out for whatever it is that you're doing? How much time do you need to set yourself up for success so people can show up? How much time do you need because you deal with procrastinators on your team? Unfortunately, you can give this message to a lot of people, and I'm giving it to you because I know it's necessary, but you can't drag people on with you and the respect that you have for time. Trust me, I've tried it, and sometimes I'm successful and sometimes I'm not. So people get left in these days. I'm being honest. That's what I'm learning because I've learned how to respect time. Because people ain't always waiting on me just because I'm the inspirationalist. And I can't be, it's not right for me to expect them to. So for you to try to pull your teams and stuff like that, I'm going to be honest, maybe you delegate them to the things that are not as time sensitive.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I recently hired an assistant. People was like, oh, really? Yeah. Super excited about my assistant too. But she respects time. These are questions you got to ask people. I have a volunteer assistant and a paid assistant, but my volunteer assistant is way more busy in her life. I can't put you on time sensitive things.
Yeah.
I can't put, you see what I'm saying? Just being honest. So there's things you got to consider that when you're building up your team. You know, I talked to you about having somebody to take pictures for you. It's got to be somebody that respect what you're doing. I'm being honest. You got to have people in your circle and on your team that respect what you do. So like when I said to Tish, I don't got to be on Tish's team to want pictures for her. I'm a speaker. I know what I want in the room. I don't always have somebody. But I know this is valuable for my business. This is valuable for me to share with others what I'm doing. So I'm like, let me give to you what I know I would want. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I know you need that. Right? So, and I don't care who it is. I used to do hair. As I told her, if I go to some of my friend's salon and I'm just hanging out, because some of them I do, I visit, like I'm in your city. They're like, I'm working, I'm headed to the shop. I'm taking videos for you because I know you need it. Why? Because this marketing and branding conversation is important to me. It's very important for growth and development, right? So I'm serious. We can talk about all that. Now, word of mouth is super important for marketing. Super important for marketing. If people can talk about you doing great stuff and they're like, hey, I know Nancy's really nice or whatever the case may be, they're going to be referring people to Nancy. You know, referrals go a long way. How intentional are you at capturing those referrals? You think you walked up to me talking about your friends want to go on my cruise and I'm not getting somebody's information? You're nuts. I'm going to be like, hey, she was like, you got a card? A card is not an excuse. Ain't got no cards, ran out of cards, now that on me. Not a problem. They're getting personal information. You need a photo in your profile picture, I'll get you all that. It'll be an electronic business card. Another key thing real quick since I'm on that, on your phone, make yourself your own contact. Put all your personal information in it and your picture, and when people say they want your information, send them your contact.
Bingo.
That's your electronic business card. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Smart.
What are some things that you guys Yes, absolutely, absolutely. What are some things you guys know about your own personal brands? What do people say about you and your brand? Hold on, let me say this. Personal brand or business brand? Because I know people in here are like, I don't have a business, or maybe it's not a thing you want to do. Regardless, what are some things that people say either about your business brand, pick one of them to answer, or your personal brand?
I had a lady one time when I met her on the second go round, on the first go round, we were Facebook friends. She said, I expected you to be taller because my personality is really big, you know, on social media and everything. And even though, actually the second time I met her, even the first time that I met her, I had on a dress that was, you know, really flowy, whatever, and it was just flowing. And so when she saw me the second time, I just had on sneakers and some t-shirt, and, you know, she was like, you're really small. I don't remember you being that small. So that's, you know, for my personal brand, I have a big personality, and it's a small package, and it comes on kind of strong. But that's yeah,
I love it. I would have given you the same thing.
Really?
Talking to you on the phone.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All my business is conducted over the phone. So it's, you know, thank you. I'm glad you called. You saved me so much money. Just a lot of gratitude.
Awesome. That's what you got going. You too.
A lot of gratitude.
What do some people say about you? Your brand?
My brand. Well, I go by, if I can look at like my reviews on my site. One thing I see consistently is Rihanna's quick. Rihanna has me looking sharp. Rihanna is sweet. Rihanna is, you know, I'm, you know, not going to anybody else because she takes care of me how I need to.
Absolutely.
And that's like a consistent thing that I see.
Why do you think people highlight that? Why do you think people highlight that?
It's important to them.
I have an answer.
Okay.
Being a person who did not go to salons for a reason, you taking the whole down.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I do pride myself on. I do not, I can't have
all my
a million
friends,
people in
same
front.
thing.
It gives me anxiety. So to have back to back waiting, I can't.
So do you understand also too, there are certain reviews you want because of the industry.
Yes.
There are industry specific reviews that you want. So my point is there are industry specific complaints.
Right.
And I have the most reviews for my area based on,
Absolutely. Where do you live, right? North Minneapolis, right?
well, no, my business isn't there.
But
wherever I travel, like in that region, that area, just
Oh,
for
the
Minnesota,
most, got you.
I have the most
But
positive.
it's true. Like most people, you know, to have a salon, you know, to have to go to a salon and to be able to get your hair done to get out. Everybody don't want the girl chat.
Right.
Everybody don't want the girl chat. Everybody want to get in.
I know. I don't have time.
So there's some industry specific complaints that you may want to familiarize yourself with, so you'll know even how to be a step above.
Right.
You know, in excellence.
Right.
Because she was talking about
That's the
that.
first when I refer her, I said she doesn't have anybody else booked. When she books you, and that's it.
Absolutely.
We're done.
More people are starting to do it, but not everybody.
It's the only way I
More
go.
people are starting to do
Finishing
this,
one, but yeah.
but they, you know, we still slow.
It's the only way I'll go.
Holidays are an exception.
Holidays might be an exception, but either way, I'm just saying, you know. But I mean, we're talking about the norm. You would go sit in the shop. You would have an appointment. What good is that?
What's the point?
What about
Exactly.
doctor's offices?
Hate it.
No. And that, yeah.
What's the
Same
point of
thing.
an appointment? You don't ever get in on time.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
They tell you to arrive 15 minutes early for them to still
And
be
you're
free.
And they
45
charge you if you miss
minutes
it.
Listen,
And they charge you if you
time
miss it.
management.
absolutely. Think about that, right?
I
Remember
did.
when I
hate
talked
that.
about yesterday about not being deep in your branding and things like that when you're talking about you know, giving and leaving an impression, right? The other thing that I think that helps us when we are not too deep in this impression thing, because we're talking about something different. She talked about the first impression, right? That ain't deep in 3 seconds, okay? But What it allows for us to be able to do too is separate the difference between feedback that's constructive and hateration.
All right.
Everybody ain't a hater because they don't agree with you. They don't like your service. They don't like something you're doing. And I'm serious. I mean, serious. Everybody can be a hater. And I just think, I'm being honest with you, I think some words are overused. You know, everybody that don't agree with you, that's what they've given the name to, right? If you have something to say about it that could possibly actually help me. Oh, I'm serious, I've shared it with people. I was like, yeah, this lady said, I can't remember what I said. Oh, what did I say? Oh, this lady said I was a misogynist. Because a lot of the relationship talks I do are from the perspective of a single woman. But sometimes I give us a lot of perspective about men. Because we are women. Most women think about women stuff. And so I talk to a lot of men within marriage, conversations. And so when I show, they be like, man, this is what's happening. I'm like, well, or he could have been like this. But if you were talking about a woman and her best friend, I'm still going to show and be like, or this could have been the thought too. I'm still going to do that all the time. But because I do that, she said I was a misogynist. Somebody was like, she's a hater. You know?
Wow.
It's her opinion. You know, understand why she says it. But you have to know why I say, you got to know my platform to know this is what I do. Provide perspective. So, you know, so again, everybody's not a hater. What are you currently doing to market your business? You talked to me about it. You was like, man, Aqueela, I didn't know Instagram was a whole nother world. Super huge. Instagram is different. Pinterest is different. People use Pinterest for business. People use Twitter for business. People use, of course, Facebook for business. But here's the thing about all those platforms. It depends on the client you're trying to get to.
Right.
You're going to get a lot of visual folks on Instagram. You see what I'm saying? But you're getting the relationshipy people who feels like your best friends in their head on Facebook. They're your best friends. Oh my God, Nashika, I just feel like you're my best friend in my head. You know?
Travel with you.
Exactly. And I'm just being honest. Totally different group of people.
Absolutely.
Twitter, they are more of your direct to the point people.
Yes.
It's 120 characters.
Yeah.
Maybe 160, I can't remember, but it's like, I think it's 120. But either way, very short and direct people. They ain't trying to do a lot of clicking most times unless you got a bomb headline. They there for the direct stuff.
Right.
Okay? Seriously, you gotta know where your audience is. Pinterest people are your bloggers.
Yes.
They don't mind clicking. They don't mind being directed to something else, right? So if you were doing the expo on Pinterest, you could totally have, you know, some type of picture of one of the people you're featuring there, and then talk about what you got going on, and they don't mind clicking, right? But you got to know Instagram ain't necessarily for the clickers unless you have an audience that's really being influenced by you. Because your clicking is going to be only in the top part of that, which means you got to make me get out of this picture, scroll to the top, go to your bio. You see what I'm saying? Just being honest.
That's true.
You got to think about it. Facebook works because all the clicking abilities happen right there in the post. You just got to know what works for you. When you're doing t-shirts, you're showing your t-shirts, Pinterest can work for you, Facebook can work for you, and Instagram will work for you.
Right.
Right? But you got to know that, right? How many of you record videos? Awesome. Are you in the video? I saw you talking. But
you hear my voice.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. But you're doing yours out like this. You're not showing. Okay.
She does voiceovers.
Basically, yeah. So what do you? So who else does videos? Tish, I know you do.
You know I do.
Will you do videos as well? You do. What do you show in your videos?
We do tutorials. So like if I'm
Okay.
doing a design with me or somebody, like I'll bring in somebody, oh, this is such and such, like I'm promoting them. This is such a person. We're gonna be designing this today. And then the majority of the time it's them on the video, like doing the thing. Like I don't like to be like my face on the video. But yeah.
How important would you say, Tish, for people?
I was about to say, could I say this,
Go on.
please? I have gotten major contracts from doing Facebook Live. I'm not even training in my field, to be honest with you. I'm just being consistent. And I say consistency is a branding strategy all by itself. I've gotten people from other cities that brought me in to come and talk to their teams just from the Facebook video, and not to mention the YouTube things that really are more strategic. it is invaluable for your business. I believe it's
Absolutely.
invaluable for your business.
Well, 80% of shared content across social media, this is probably, I want to say, maybe a 9-month-old stat, maybe a year. It was 80. It's more now. I'm pretty sure it's more. But it was 80% at one point of shared content was videos. So we're talking about promoting business, right? You also got to know the capacity. So with that being said, like you, unless you hiring folk, you know, you're only one person. Your services are provided by hand, but you got to also know what you're putting on the video. So your product.
Yes.
Right. So I talk about how many people have products. Real big on products. Real big on products. Products are the extension of you that can go everywhere you're not able to go.
Yeah.
And allow you to make money in your sleep.
Aqueela, I wanted to piggyback off of what you said about Twitter.
Yeah.
Google and Twitter has a reciprocity agreement. I don't know if people know that. So if you are trying to get your rankings up on Google, tweet.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah, tweet. Whatever you tweet, LinkedIn and Twitter are the only two, and YouTube, of course, because that's their product.
Absolutely.
But those are the only two outside of their platform that they have reciprocity agreements with. So you'll always, any content that you put on those platforms will always be first in the search rankings.
So that's good.
Not to mention that when you on Facebook specifically, you almost get ignored with just words unless you have a lot of followers, a lot of people engaging. But once you put a video up, Facebook almost like peels back a little bit more visibility for you, so you get more visibility with just video by itself.
I was going to talk about algorithms. So, absolutely, it's true. But you're right, I forgot about that. You're absolutely right. I started out doing Twitter stuff, and me and Twitter are not best friends.
We were talking about afterwards. I remember.
But it's true though. Twitter and definitely YouTube. So what is that? Let's just talk about real quick with Twitter. What would that mean for you? Find a way to make your message concise or your advertisement concise, right? So like if for the hair person, you'd say, you know, having a 15% off on whatever, and you put that on there at the salon. That's all people need to know. Give me the directive straight to the point. 15% off on any services, or come in, pay full price for a service, and you get a 2-ounce product. You see what I'm saying, for free. You got to do quick stuff, but it definitely is going to make you more noticeable, like she said, right? So when people are searching for what hair products or whatever in Minneapolis, or hairstylists in Minneapolis, and make sure you're on those. Yeah. So keywords, too, very important.
I got a quick question about Twitter, because I tried to get in there and learn how to tweet, but it's been a struggle. So it has. I can't wrap my mind fully around it.
It's too much.
When you're on Twitter, do people use, for the people who tweet often, do you use hashtags in the same way you use on Insta? Like, do people
Not
search?
30,000 of them, but yeah.
But do people search by hashtag? Because I'm like, should I do, like, how would people even find me?
Keywords. So like if you're doing, your hashtag for you will be good as designer, fashion,
Right.
Phoenix,
not every
textiles.
not every
Not the
post
30 that you're
either.
doing.
Not the 30 that I'm doing because you don't have that many characters.
Right.
But pick some and like rotate those babies.
And there's some sites where you can look up your ideal hashtags.
Right. Yeah.
So use the ones that make sense, not just being
And look
silly.
up the word trending.
Yep.
Look up what's trending. Because sometimes you can have a conversation about what's trending, go into trending, and just make it apply to you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So like especially like during Fashion Week and stuff, baby, you should be in on a Fashion Week. Yes, hashtag Fashion Week. Check out our latest hashtag Fashion Week. You see?
Gotcha.
When they do a fashion, you can do a whole series. You do a 5-day. 5-day.
Yep, there you go. Also, too, don't forget, you guys, we have another business consultant in the room.
All right, now,
You know what I'm saying? So definitely, here to promote. We all here to promote, right?
Yeah.
So for you, even yourself, the same thing, right? People that develop in their business brands, you should hit cities. The objective, I would imagine, for you to be everywhere. You want to be in everybody's home. So you want to make sure you start hitting different cities. So one of the things I want to talk about too is reach out. You want to plant seeds in the place that you want to blossom.
There you go.
So you, like for me, myself, I've connected with people in all kind of cities across the world and the country because that's where I want to be. I don't want to just be in my city. You know, some people are like, oh, I'm going to take over. You can have me.
Right.
Trying to get this island. I'm working on it now.
Right.
So give me a minute. I'm going to try to finish.
Let's all put in a little bit.
Just remember your first Bosscation.
Oh, y'all better come on and play.
Put it together.
Absolutely. You think this is a game? Not at all. So, you know, seriously, you got to think about where you want to be. If it's ever, that's right.
And you subcontract.
That takes me into exclusivity.
Yes, exactly.
Exclusivity. People like exclusivity.
How you stand out.
How do we stand out? That's right. But but really quick. So you got to plant seeds where you want to be. You know, I remember. So I was telling you about how. I just told you. I told her that I do hair. I got a chance to do hair for the show that I'm on and get a check cut from VH1. And never in life signed up for it, wasn't the goal or whatever, but my talent's still active. Just because you're not using it doesn't mean that it's not active.
Right.
Remember your own gifts.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
So making room for you may not look like the way you have in mind all the time. So literally people are like, oh my God, Q, you can do like everything. Like, what don't you do? And I'm serious. They was like, okay, Aqueela. They was like, Q, can you, somebody was like, man, can you, the hair person ended up bowing out. And I was like, no worries, I'll do it. And I was like, I'm sorry, what did you say? Q is on here as a friend, and we know she's a relationship and confidence coach because they research you. So they was like, we know that, so you can do hair? I was like, yeah, what we need to do? I was like, well, she just needs somebody to flat her, clip her ends, and this, that, and other. And I was like, cool, and it's quick because we're not doing washing. This is literally like quick dry stuff. So I'm like, yeah, quick, right?
That'll be great.
Get that little comb and flat iron that I synced on YouTube.
Right.
Little comb chase. No, I'd already seen it on Facebook. And I'm like, where's this video like? So I started doing, so I did or whatever, right? And just being honest, you guys, right? For something that took me 45 minutes, $250. And I was like, what? Who else y'all need me to do? You need something? You need me to do the producer? What y'all need me to do? No. But I'm just saying, so my point is like, make it, like I plant it also just by telling them what I do. Yeah. I sold myself in that position. You see what I'm saying? And then they was like, braiding them. That's what I really enjoy doing. So then somebody, she's like, Q, can you braid my hair? Done. And every day she wears her braids, I get paid.
What?
Not even doing it. What you say? So then I was like, girl, two of these braids loose. Let me fix them in the front so you could keep wearing them. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? How long we wearing it?
Right.
But I'm so serious.
It's good marketing because I showed you the picture I wanted.
See, I'm serious.
Oh, you didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The blind. Yeah. So what I'm saying, so I'm telling you, like, sow yourself. People don't know. The algorithms are great and bad because they're only going to give you so much exposure.
Right.
So that's the reason I have conversations with other people in other places. I've reached out. I'm telling you, I went to. Somebody's like, you went to New York? Yeah, I met her on Instagram, and it started a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Vibed a bit, and then we went. Met a girl in Virginia. We have a whole thing coming up. But we become friends. And then I speak at her event in Virginia, right? And then and paid. Just because you meet people and become friends, I still want to get paid too.
There you go. Right?
I'm just being honest.
I'm just saying, right?
You can like people and still pay them. So I'm just, so I'm saying like I've sown into places. I said I want to go to Ohio. So I started looking up the hashtag Ohio, and I started trying, connecting with people there. Give me a minute. I'll let y'all know when I'll be in Ohio. Right? I'm serious. I'm like, that's what I constantly do. Yeah. I constantly do it, and I mean it. And people like, and I post on my social media. I would love to come to your city. Tell me what city you're in. Give me a reason.
Right. Okay. I was going to say, some of y'all are probably in organizations already where there's a chapter in the city you want to go to, like an association of this or that. You know what I mean? So check that out too, because many times they'll bring you in because they're looking for somebody to speak anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, what association am I part of,
Absolutely.
and where they reside?
Absolutely.
And that's important. It's really important to tell people. Like, I had no idea, Nashika, and this is someone I know personally, when I have contracts on hold in Dallas, that's the whole purpose of my hoboism, so I can be free to be, because I have major contracts on hold in Dallas, Atlanta, and other cities of, I have to press pause, I need to graduate my son, but when I come to your city, I'm staying for that extended time because all of the businesses that I'm helping to develop, I'm going to be there 2 months. You guys have 60 days, and I can only take 5. But what do? Unless they're really passionate about you as a person, they move on to the next business development partner. I don't have until August or September to wait for you.
Yeah.
So it would be nice, it's important to network, because then I could have said, you know what, I'm at capacity right now. However, I have, so that's why it's like, as to your point of networking, that's why it's
With
so,
a purpose.
yeah, because those are contracts that could have been subcontracted. Okay, well, it's going to be $5,500 for your contract. And then I call up Sheikah. Girl, look, $25. I got a contract with you. Know what I mean? Like, super simple, because that's just money that I'm sitting here like, oh God, I'm losing clients. And I'm missing major clients. And I'm seeing them tweet about, like the Adrian and Ashley Peterson Foundation. That's one of my contracts. And I'm seeing them tweet about stuff, and I'm like, I ain't got, you know what I mean? So you really have to network and know who's in your circle. Like, I know how I'm gonna use every lady in this room right now. I do. I'm just like, girl, look, you making my outfit for the expo, okay?
And that's motive. That's motive. One of the things that I highly, this is why relationship, people always ask me, how does relationship play a part in business? Because of things like this.
Absolutely.
So that, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm one of the ones that I would do exactly what you're saying. Like, give me something to wear that belongs to you. I'm gonna pay for it.
Right. And I'm gonna shout you out too.
And I'm gonna shout you out, right? And I wanted to make sure that you know, like a young lady, I bought a shirt for her in Chicago, and then I filmed back in Atlanta. Hit her up like, hey, your shirt about to be on VH1, you know what I'm saying? And she didn't know, you know what I mean? You had no clue. But because it was a smaller brand, they let me do it, because normally they got to do waivers and they put a lot of stuff through that. I'm going to bleep it out. So I hope they still don't bleep it out. But my point is that, again, you want to provide exposure and opportunity for other people, and that's sowing, believe it or not, still yields a harvest for yourself. Because people know I'm not a one-sided person. Like, I'm going to pay, I'll pay for your service and promote. You don't owe me anything, you know what I'm saying? But it's definitely it would be great to be reciprocated. But I know, like you talked about, Tish was talking about, people are going to follow you. They're going, when they see the kind of work you do, they see the consistency that you have. It's nothing hard you got to work for, to be honest with you, because you've already put in the work through your prep, through your intentionality. That's already the investment in of itself.
Absolutely.
Really quick. So marketing. A lot of people don't like talking about themselves. Oh, I don't want to say that. I don't want to sound like I'm, coming up too prideful and all this other stuff, right?
Pitch me.
Huh? Oh, okay. So, a lot of people don't want to talk about themselves, so they don't tell. So here's what we have. We have two sides. Those that only talk about themselves, Tish addressed those people as the marketers, the people who are branding themselves as, here's what I do, right? But there is a nice way to get in there, have that conversation, and still give people, know what you do. And I mean, I'm serious. I've done, I've inspired people in the bathroom, and they'll be like, I'm sorry, I never caught your name, Aqueela the Inspirationalist, and you are inspirational. You know what I'm saying? But I'll give them the inspiration first.
There you go.
And now they want to know who I am.
Absolutely.
The first thing that was important to me wasn't even me giving you my name. It may have been finding a way to help you, because I saw an opportunity to do so. So when she talks about it, it resonates with me, that I have an obligation, right? Because sometimes we spend our time, I want to say we're not the best steward of our times. So I know if you noticed, I'm going to just give you a quick here. If y'all noticed that every time you said, well, this lady had an attitude, and I came back and said, come on. people have the right to have their own moment. I don't want people to spend too much time in unnecessary conversations about things that don't matter. Why? Because we having an amazing time. You know what I'm saying? We got it in on the boat, and then when it was time, because we're considerate people, we could be like, look, she want to take a. Because here's the reality. People, we talked about it, they're passive. Some people are not going to be like, ooh, could you just keep it down a bit? I'd have respected that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay, y'all. You know what I mean? But a lot of people are not going to do that. That's why the word consideration exists. Because if everybody could make a request, we would need to consider you because you tell me what it was that you needed. Right? So I do that a lot. I'm serious. And, and people, my friends would say, Aqueela, no, this is how she gonna be. But I do that too, to dismantle the stuff. Nobody owes us anything.
Right.
And I'm being honest, it just changes the way you show up. It's real simple. It just changes the way you show up. I can understand that you don't understand what's happening here, right? So like people, let's say they walk by and they're like, well, who told them they can have this on? I'm just saying, like, you see what I'm saying? My conversation ain't about you worrying about what you see what I'm saying? It can't. I don't have that kind of, I'm not interested in using my time like that. So sometimes when I'm doing that, I'm just like, come on. Like we can accept that everybody's different. Not everybody's going to be okay with what we got going and what you got going and what you got going, what you got going. Not everybody gonna understand. Not everybody even gonna ask questions. Not everybody gonna be bold enough to say, do you wanna play? You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate it. Hold on, I appreciated you. Like, should we get a phone over there and see if she wanna play that song? You know? And I'm like, well, you know, we could. Don't give it to him though with his man boobs. I was like, do not give it to the man boobs.
You wanted him to pass
He was just It's like, put a shirt on.
I know, right? I know.
It's a little bit. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, this is who was trying to dance with her.
That was him? Oh,
that was my ass. That was my ass. And here she go. I'm getting a little jealous, y'all. I said, look, when you had the chance. So, I want to talk about this. Have standards. Reason why I'm talking about this.
Right after.
Have standards. So listen, I really quick. I'm gonna backtrack just a smidgen. Come back to that. Promos, packages, print work, all those other things are important. I was really seriously considering having a t-shirt with some kind of something. Ask me about, you know, how to join me in my next Bosscation or something like that. Like, you know, you can be your own walking billboard.
Absolutely.
Right? So you don't got to spend the thousands of dollars. I've actually researched it, maybe 300 depending on what location that ain't popular. You know what I mean? You don't got to get a billboard for real. Be your own walking billboard, put it on a t-shirt.
Put your prices on your t-shirt.
That was a good one.
Price list.
Absolutely. What's your freebie? For some of you guys, do you have anything you can give away for free? You know, whether it's a consultation, if you're a speaker, coach, or something like that, or if it's, you know, if it's for you, you give them a sample. You gave. Thank you guys. Can we just give Bria a hand also?
Yes. Thank you.
Can we also give Tanya a hand?
Yes.
She gave the scrub, you guys. She gave the scrub, and she gave the hair oil. And I just wanted to say thank you guys for taking advantage of the opportunity to share about your own brand. You know, that meant a lot to me because I'm like, y'all, we going on vacation, but you still business owners. You know what I'm saying? And so I know Tanya. Also, I want to commend you, Tanya. You guys, this is new for her to jump in and doing, and really going back into honing her own craft and putting herself out there like this. This is a new venture for her. So I'm really proud of you. I want you to know that. I really am. You showed up, honey. She was like, okay, Aqueela, what kind of 10s should I get? I found the 10s. I mean, what kind of labels? Like, what should we do? So, you know, so I'm really proud because you guys, it takes a lot for you to step out and start creating something that you got to worry about other people rejecting or receiving. And so I recognize that, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to definitely say thank you, but I want you to think about your freebies, right? Now what I want you to think about is, was that freebie profitable for you?
Right.
Being honest with you, was it too much product to give? Can you find smaller containers? Can they be plastic and not tin? Can you make sure that it makes sense for you? Okay. The same for yourself. You give. I didn't look in your bag. I haven't mentally done it. But is it glass?
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that's very expensive. Now glass does something different than plastic, so there may be something to why she's using glass. But what I'm just saying is these are things that you guys have to think about doing, right? Why did I say that? Because you gotta have a standard. You can't give something free to everybody.
Right.
Being honest, you gotta understand. I thought it was phenomenal, still think it is when I hear that comedian say, listen, I understand this show is free, but if you don't wanna be here, I need you to go.
Yeah.
Because I can't give free stuff to everybody either.
Yeah.
If you gonna sit here and be on your phone, then this ain't for you, right? So free, and just because it's free, don't mean it's still for everybody. So people are like, well, why you can't give me your samples? Because I don't know what you're gonna do with my samples.
Right.
Are you gonna use them? Are you gonna tell anybody else about them? Are you gonna give me a review, right? So what you can do is say, in exchange for my sample, I need you to give me a review.
Right.
Tell me what it is that you think about it, because now that review is adding to you being able to build business.
Amen.
Because what did we all check before we took on that excursion? Well, most of us checked what, the reviews before we took that excursion. Before you go and consider a hotel. Before, you see what I'm saying? You want to check the reviews, so you tell them. Absolutely. So in exchange for this, you guys owe them reviews on the products. Okay. Okay. Just so you know. Absolutely. So like I said, have standards. What are your standards for business, right? What are your standards for who, when she talks about avatars, but just because a person doesn't meet your avatar sometimes, it don't mean that person is for you.
Right.
So what's your standard? So seriously, so you know your avatar, what you look like, which is great. But what if the avatar that normally looks the way she looks comes up to her and she's playing around with Tish's time? My standard is such that I'm not gonna sit here and keep on playing with you because you look like my avatar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You may fit the profile, but this position ain't for you.
Yeah, now get you an interview, not a job.
There you go. There you go, right? So you want to make sure that you guys have standards for your business, right? Not every person I love when you say it about, because again, I'm an advocate for it. I've moved out of desperation. I've accepted positions of, coaching individuals that is now not coaching anymore. It's babysitting.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm over here literally dragging you around on a sled trying to get you to come with me to your success.
Girls, say that.
So for you got to think about the people you're making clothes for, right? You got to think about how long it takes. One thing that I did, I was building websites. I'll talk about that really quick. I was building websites at a time limit on how much I was going to spend to do it. Why? It's not my favorite thing to do. It's something I'm good at. With that being said, I said I want you to check in. That's what I tell some of my clients, who are my business clients. I need you to check in with what's your time of enthusiasm and excitement for certain things in your own position, job, or gifts. Because sometimes your excitement, my excitement for coaching and speaking is oh my God, massive. The capacity is great. Building them websites, okay, you got about 2 weeks. Then I'm not excited about it anymore. And I've learned that. So you got to send me everything in the beginning. Oh, I'm gonna pay you. I don't care. Because if this ain't gonna be done in 2 weeks, you can get your money back. I'm so serious. Because it's not what I want to spend my time doing. I need you to have all your stuff. So my ideal client has to be prepared. Where your pictures, information, content, what do you want the goal to be? What are you trying to get for your customers to see when you get to the site? But they like, oh, this is quick. Absolutely, make time. It's not what I want to spend my time doing. Now, if you are a person that be like, well, I still want to think about it, I got referrals. I got referrals from people that I know that do websites. They probably won't charge a lot more because they're going to spend the time. My price does not reflect the time that you're requesting. It reflects the time that it takes for me to do it. So you guys have to think about that. Right? So want to make sure that you think about for your own self. What are some things you don't want to do? Either you just don't do it and you delegate, or you got to give people a reasonable turnaround time so that you can make sure it makes sense for you. So that they don't pull you into hating your own stuff too.
Yeah.
And there's apps that can do it for you.
What?
When you say delegate, there's apps that just can do a lot of the stuff that you don't want to do.
Oh,
about these apps, now she.
Yeah, no. She'll schedule a consultation.
I will.
The apps.
You need a lot of things.
Real slow.
Oh, seize the moment. This is it. Seize the moment. Don't wait for your next opportunity to record the video, take the picture, have the interview. It is very, very important. seizing the moment is important to me because I know sometimes people's like, Aqueela, I wanted to interview you, not you, Shika, but somebody else literally said, I want to interview you, but I just didn't think it was ever going to be a good time. I said, you should ask.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You should ask. Don't assume for me. Mm-hmm. You know what they say about the assume? Okay. Don't assume, right? If I want a picture with you right now, who's to say what tomorrow's going to look like? Let's do this today. Let's do this right now. Right. If you guys have things, I'm being honest. This might be a chance for you to interview Tish. Hey Tish, what's going on? I'm on top of that already. You know, you see what I'm saying? This may be an opportunity for you to share some things with people and have them check out some. You better seize the moment, right? And then you get to talk. Being honest with you guys, people have. If you're on this cruise, there's people on the guys. Besides us. Yeah. Amen. Lots of them. Yes, God. Mm-hmm. So that's an opportunity still for you to make connections, talk to people, whatever the case may be. Period. My brand goes with me everywhere. Everywhere. You know, it don't cost anything to be kind. It don't cost anything to have a conversation. You know, and again, if you stop looking at it with I don't want to talk about myself too much. Please. What did she say? She's like, hey, the first thing in your mind ain't got to be that you got to sell them anything. Make the connection, right? And then provide the space for follow-up. And I think, do you guys have any questions?
Can we exchange business cards?
Oh,
can you? You better.
No, I mean like now. Does everybody have?
Or contact information?
Mine's in the bag with your oil.
Y'all can't. How about that? Create your electronic one though, at least for now, and then you guys can at least send them out. Right. Even if it's in the group text.
What did we do earlier when we was putting our name somewhere? Their records.
That was in that pictures.
I'll send it to everybody.
And
I put everybody's WhatsApp on the memo.
Okay,
and I'll send it to everybody.
Okay.
so I would love to say that, number one, thank you so much for having me, for allowing me to be a part of this. It's been such a tremendous blessing meeting each and every one of you all. I never want to make the assumption that I can send, information about offerings and products and everything, although I did mention some. If you, and I'm very serious, because like you said, I don't want anybody to have anything they don't want. If you don't want me to email you anything, then all you need to do is say, you know what, I'm good, or whatever, I'm good with that. But I'd love to email you all the resources that I mentioned, as well as some opportunities that, might be helpful for your business. I have a program that I offer to my clients. It's a hands-on program. It is not like I'm just gonna teach you. I'm literally getting in the trenches with you and helping you to find your ideal client, to develop your avatar. So I'd just like to send you all some information, but I do need all of your contact information to be able to do that. So I wanna have permission to be able to send you all that information.
And then Tish, we can still purchase your planner too as well.
Yes. Yes,
so
absolutely.
What we can do, hold on, so I have a question. So did you get everybody's information on there?
I got their phone numbers,
right.
Their WhatsApp numbers, yes.
You did? Okay.
But that was everybody that was at breakfast.
Okay, add the rest of the people to it.
Everyone will finish on
Then I told her to copy and just paste it and
Absolutely.
send it to us.
Yeah, just add everybody to that. We can copy and paste it. Because I was thinking that, just send it to me. Because it's a note.
But I would love.
Send out the emails.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, like emails would be great. If there's a way.
Put the email. Yeah, so pass it around and put the email addresses on there.
Right.
I'm gonna just send it to you.
And if we did not have time, because I said that if you wanted to pull me aside, get my card and schedule some time with me at no cost, of course, just to have a conversation.
Still grab guys. Don't do what you're gonna do, but I'm gonna still grab you guys at some point. And you just let me know if it works for you or not. Get you like a literally 60-second testimonial if you don't mind. For at this point, I'll probably grab you for like 2 60 seconds because I want one for the overall trip, and then I want one for Tish. Okay. So real quick, I want to know, did you guys find this helpful?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. If y'all want to take a picture of this picture.